We're waiting for you right now, so you can go ahead.
Yes. Cool. That just works on this distance.
It does work.
Then we have the presentation. This one. Nice. Then we take this one. Switch it. This one. Right. Then we have here the presentation. Welcome all. This is the presentation that I'm going to tell you about Rocket.Chat. And the first question here is, does anybody of you know about Slack?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, we do.
We do.
Yeah, you use that a lot?
Of
Yeah,
course.
I'm on Slack right now.
Ah, cool. And it's a nice system to collaborate. And Rocket.Chat is, that's me, Floris. And Rocket.Chat is an open source alternative to Slack. And it does exactly the same. It looks the same. The main difference is that you can keep your history and you don't need to pay per user in order to use it. I'm going to tell about the features of that, and that we built a Drupal.org module for it, what the roadmap on it is, and the call to action. The slides are available on this URL. I will send them back later, so you can look them up, so you don't have to take notes or anything.
Okay.
About me, my name is Floris van Geel, and I live in the Netherlands. And I wanted to come to your conference last month. And unfortunately, that was moved to this time, so then it was no longer possible to get that done with the visa and so forth. But I'm very happy to be here online with you at Drupal Nigeria conference. Very nice.
Yeah, we're happy to have you too.
Very happy to have you.
Okay, IRC. Who knows something about IRC? That is still used within Drupal, specifically for core contribution. It's created in 1988 in Finland by Jarkko Oikaniren, and it was adopted worldwide in the 90s. And it's a decentralized network. So that means that each server will talk to the other server, and every green or blue block is a person or a bot. And those get distributed around the internet, so you can collaborate and talk with each other. And if one server fails, then it waits until it comes back up, and then you still see your chat. And it's open source and very nice. If we compare Slack to Rocket.Chat, the features are about equivalent. The only difference is that Slack is proprietary and Rocket.Chat is not, and that Rocket.Chat has a Linux integration, which is also very nice. And you can use it self-hosted. That's also what we did with Drupal Chat, is that we created a service with Rocket.Chat where all the Drupal community can collaborate. Then, to get this working with Drupal, you need to have a Drupal module. So you first look around on the internet, and we found a GitHub repository. And in the GitHub repository, there was a proof of concept that the live chat could work with Rocket.Chat. But then the question is it GPL? Is it open source? For everything which is in Drupal.org needs to be GPL 2. And then the author changed it and added a license to it, so we could use it in order to have the Rocket.Chat module, which is now on Drupal.org. For Drupal 8, there is an API that you can control all the features of the Rocket.Chat. And for Drupal 7, there is an integration that you can have a nice a live chat integration. So then you have a little balloon on the bottom right of or bottom left of your website, and if a visitor comes in there, they start chatting, and then they go to your department for sales or your support department in order to get the info that they need. So instead of using a third-party provider to pay for it and get the support channels in place, you can do it with the Rocket.Chat. You can find it out, what you see in this slide, on the URL Rocket.Chat. And there it has the links to how you can install this. The easiest way to get started is to take a virtual machine with Ubuntu, and then take the Snap package manager, and from there it's very easy to install the Rocket.Chat Snap package. Sorry? Was that a question?
No, I'm asking if you wanted to use the Rocket.Chat right now.
Yes. Let's see, and then I need to switch the screen. I can do that, no problem. This is the Rocket.Chat. And then we switch the screen. Application. Let's do the whole screen then. Yes. Do we see it now? Your entire screen. I'll just take the entire screen. This application here, this is the Rocket.Chat client. It's just a web interface, and let's go to a general channel. This is our Rocket.Chat, and then we have for the Dutch and the German, we have their own Rocket.Chat instance, and this one is the general Rocket.Chat for everybody who wants to collaborate on Drupal.org. Streaming live at HTTP. Cam. So this is how the user interface looks like. You can see that? So now it's good. Now I switch back to the presentation. This one and this one. And then can continue here. So in the end, when a person has chatted with your backend support, you get a nice JSON out of it. And with that, you can feed that to your CRM system or with the feeds to your Drupal site. And then very nice that like 2 months ago, we released a Rocket.Chat Drupal API, which means that you can control everything inside the Rocket.Chat with the Drupal API in Drupal 8. That means that if you have, for example, users that collaborate in a group with the Drupal 8 group module, you can trigger a rule that these people also talk together in the same channel in Rocket.Chat. And a lot of other options are there to be thought up and to be built. I'm hoping that people start helping and collaborating, and that together we can make this even better. To do this, we needed to go upstream, which means that we had to go to the Rocket.Chat source and help it with OAuth 2 integration. OAuth 2 is a method that is also used by Google in order to authenticate the users. So we did a proposal, and in the end, the patch got submitted to upstream, and now the Rocket.Chat can also authenticate with OAuth 2 server module in Drupal. It works in Drupal 7 as well as in 8 with this project, OAuth 2 server. So from there, what is upstream Rocket.Chat going to do? What they want is the same, but more in relation to privacy as what the Chinese are doing with WeChat. That you have many Rocket.Chat servers that collaborate and that exchange the talks that are set by the people. And to do that, they want to integrate the Matrix protocol. And that is a decentralized and encrypted protocol. So if we have a chat together as a group, other people on the internet cannot listen in. So it's point-to-point encryption and decentralized. So this is the logo of the WeChat that is very popular in China. And obviously, there is some privacy concerns. On the other hand, what you can do as services is you can order a pizza within the chat and pay for it, and somebody will deliver it. And all kinds of other services can be directly accessible within the chat. So that's really nice if we get to that point. Currently, what we did is inside the Rocket.Chat there is a U-bot, and what we did is we programmed the features like DrupalCon does for IRC with factoids and pluses and there and so forth. We programmed inside the U-bot. But you can think of many applications with bots that collaborate and that make our web experience even greater. So for the module, at this point, it is an API where you can control everything. The next step is to be able to have a real-time API that we can chat within our own websites. At this point, that's only limited to the live chat, so the direct chat with your backend, like the people who do support and sales and so forth. But you want people to collaborate within the Drupal website and chat together. The file sharing is already implemented. So screen sharing is implemented. For that, Jitsi Meet is utilized. I will explain a little bit more about Jitsi Meet later. Yeah, notifications, rule sets. So the first step for the next development is to integrate rules within the Drupal API. So if somebody says something, we can trigger a Drupal rule, and with that start a process of business logic. If that's in place, you could do things like asynchronous document editing, what you do, for example, in Google Docs. You collaboratively type inside a document. It's already possible to store your communications for audit, reasoning, as well as a community, we want to keep our history. Since if you have a history, you can learn from the history. If you don't have one, yeah, then it's really hard to learn from it. So what I did is I launched like an anti-Slack campaign, stop slacking and contribute. With that Drupal.chat.eu service. So if you go to Drupal.chat.eu/register/beta, you can register yourself and talk together with many other people. At this point, there's like 250 chatters in there. So to conclude, we're looking for people who are building cool things with Drupal, as well as want to integrate chat within their CRM, collaborations, and so forth. Already we were talking with OpenSocial to look for a roadmap to extend OpenSocial with chat capabilities. No, that one won't be here. Okay, these are the slides from Belgium. So in Belgium, we organized Birds of a Feather afterwards. So yeah, this is the presentation about Rocket.Chat. Is there any questions? Switch back to my
There are questions coming, so right. Just talk.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I'm really very impressed with this rocket chat. There was a couple of times I needed to work with chat module. Actually, I subscribed for live chat then due to the unavailability or let me say unawareness about this rocket chat. But what I needed to do then is to have a way of incorporating Slack into the website. But right now, I'm really impressed with this. So my question goes thus: can we still have a kind of API that we can, for those who are working well with PHP, that we can integrate it with PHP? Probably we can release the API for that. So I think it really help the community in building this and creating the awareness of this rocket chat. That's it.
The API is on drupal.org/project/rocket_chat. And that is the PHP translation to the Meteor JavaScript API that is in Rocket.Chat. So all the functions that are available inside the chat are also available to our Drupal in PHP. And that's very powerful.
Yeah, please. Any other questions?
Yes?
I have a question. Hi, thanks a lot for the talk. Very enlightening. I have one or two questions. First of all, is that how do you fund the project? It is open source and it's I can self-host. How does Rocket Chat generate income? How do you keep it sourced? How do you keep it maintained? We have how we do that in Drupal. How do you guys do that? And secondly, is that as you were talking, I was already thinking of interesting ideas for say e-commerce and people people-facing businesses where individuals can come to a site or come to a platform, and without having to go through a click-through process, they can just give their order, for instance, through a chat. Is there any other person or any other platform doing that with Rocket Chat, for instance? Like a bot-based processing service. I want to order a cup of coffee. Instead of going to a shopping cart, I will just say, "Hello, can I get a cup of coffee here at so place?" And somebody can take the order from there. Do you know if anybody is doing that? So those are two questions. How do you guys fund yourself? Is anybody doing anything bot-based with Rocket Chat right now?
Okay, so you have two questions. Thank you for those. The first question is mainly a general question. How do you make money with open source? And how Rocket.Chat does it is they provide the software for free, and they rent out a hosted solution, as well as do custom integrations for big corporations. So I do the same. If I provide services, I mainly use only open source software, and the energy that I put in to get it to work for my clients, that is what I sell to them. So I'm not selling the source, I'm selling the value that we add, making it work for them, and the adaptation to their business logic. That is how I make my money. Same way Rocket.Chat does that, but for the service as a whole. And the second question is, how do you integrate the services, and how do you combine that? Rocket.Chat is written in Meteor. Meteor is a JavaScript-like language. And what they did is they exposed all these functionality which is in the basic chat through a JavaScript API. What we did is we made a translation from the JavaScript API to the PHP, and with the PHP you can do the Drupal integrations. That's one part of the integrations. The other part is to use an open source project named HUBot, HUBot, and that's also on GitHub. and that one is also used internally with the Rocket.Chat. But you can also add another bot with the U-bot that interacts with the chatters.
Okay. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for that.
Does that answer your question?
It does.
Great.
Now, I want to ask you, when you talk about the servers being peer-to-peer distributed, is there any plans to bring Rocket.Chat to a core blockchain technology platform where you run it as blockchain protocol and have a reward system for people that will host the nodes in order to increase the value of the application itself?
Yes, two-folded. For Drupal.Chat, we made it on a MongoDB cluster because underwater, Rocket.Chat uses MongoDB to store the data that you chat about. On top of that, we have 5 runners in order to cope. I hope that we get like 2,000 users at the same time. And then you need that kind of an infrastructure. That's what we are doing. Rocket.Chat upstream is integrating the matrix into the Rocket itself. So it can talk together with open source software like Riot service. Riot service is already a matrix-based service that is decentralized and distributed chatting. So within the next 1 or 2 releases of Rocket.Chat, I believe that they integrate that as well, which means that we don't need to use the Hangout to talk with each other, but we can directly do it through the Rocket.Chat and then the Jitsi meet and meet like that.
Okay, cool. Does anyone you have any more questions?
Yes.
No, I see that.
I'd like to ask if there is any video presentation tutorial on how to use this and how to integrate this Rocket.Chat into a Drupal project.
You want a video tutorial? Yes.
Yes.
I didn't make any yet. Sorry. But there is tutorials from Rocket.Chat, but not so much. And though the documentation of Rocket.Chat is very extended and very good, so that's the place to start now. And when you understand it, and maybe you can make a video as well.
Okay, I think that's it. Thank you very much for finding out time to join us. Thanks a lot. We're very grateful. Can we say a big thank you to him?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Love you.
Bye.
So we'll be glad to have you next time when we'll have another camp in 2018.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Then physically you'll be around. Yeah, thank you very much.
Plan.
Yes. Thank
Good.
you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Bye.